this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas start at just $699. Enjoy a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slip covers made with performance fabric. Experience cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam that's hypoallergenic and never needs fluffing. The sturdy steel frame ensures longevity, and the modular pieces can be rearranged anytime. Shop WashableSofas.com for up to 60% off site-wide, backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Upgrade now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
There's no championship league for small business owners. But if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation. One-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it comes to making an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the one you'll call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Is that an introduction?
I like it.
Is that how a podcast starts? Okay, well, that's the introduction to the podcast.
I liked I liked the intro you did before we started recording better.
Oh, when I said what's Sophieing my Lichtermans?
Yeah, because I'm obsessed with myself.
I know, but I can never do the same introduction twice.
That's fair. So we'll just pretend it didn't happen. Legally,
that's part of my contract with the government. So this is Behind the Bastards, podcast about the bad people in the world. And we're doing something a little bit different today. See, it's helpful in this show with all the breaking news that happens in the world and the fact that I sometimes go cover it live to have a little bit of a backlog built up. Gives us some flexibility, lets us do things. And we lost that backlog this summer because of all the riots that I had to attend. So we're trying to build that backlog back up, but I got to write like 20 pages a week just to keep moving. So we're working on some ways to get ahead a bit, and one of them is today's special episode. We're focusing on what I would call a little B bastard, someone who would not be enough to get an episode of Behind the Bastards on his own, but I do think is interesting in the way he's shitty. So I've written a short essay about him, and then we're going to delve into his book. And to help me explore this particular little B bastard, this special piece of crap, is Shereen Lani Younes.
I'm back, fam. I'm back.
Come on, Shereen. We're talking about David Rubin.
Oh.
Thank you.
That was
wow.
The last little B I thought you would say. David Rubin. Should I know
David Rubin.
I think, I mean, I can
That's good.
stand by.
Should I know who
Googling.
David Rubin is? No, you shouldn't.
You really shouldn't.
He's very popular among people who are trash.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Which you are
Not very popular. He's like moderately popular because he hangs on to people who are very popular among people who are trash, but he himself is of at best modest notoriety. Now, he's been very successful at riding the coattails of some of the shittiest people in our discourse to modest success. Actually significant, like a lot of money. But that's partly due to the Koch
trash
brothers.
leech. A trash leech. Robert just stepped away, so it's my opportunity to say, off the top, I want to get this out of the way, but I don't know if I could top my last appearance. That was a trip for me, but I really want to thank everyone that reached out to me via email, Twitter, Instagram. I read everything you wrote. I tried to respond to everyone that I could, but it really meant a lot to me, yeah, it was just really sweet and really affirmed that I should be vulnerable, and normalizing talking about sex and sexuality is so important to me. And it's okay if I'm the vehicle for that sometimes. But yeah, I just wanted to say a really quick thank you to all the listeners that are listening now that maybe have reached out to me, because your words really meant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
That's all.
listeners.
Well, that's very sweet to hear, and very soulful, which is appropriate because the person we're talking about today doesn't have a soul.
Not a single ounce of soul.
Yeah,
Good to know.
Yeah,
Which makes this episode, which makes you the perfect guest for this episode, because you are full of soul and love and warmth.
Oh, thanks. I really feel dead inside most of the time, so that's nice that you have that impression of me.
So, Shereen, you don't know David Rubin. He's like a YouTuber. He's a right-wing YouTuber. He gets a lot of Coke money. And he's pretty trash. So we're going to read a little essay about Mr. Rubin, and then we're going to read from his book.
Oh,
which
I
is
can't
called,
wait.
Oh, you're going to love it, Shereen. It's called Don't Burn This Book, which is, I think, a pretty sad attempt to make people, like, to act as if there's anything actually
Right.
Disruptive in there, as opposed to just being another cash grab by a guy whose basic modus operandi is to support the Republican Party. So
Right.
David Joshua Rubin was born on June 26th, 1976. Obviously, since this isn't a standard episode, I'm not writing 10 pages on this guy, but we do have to get some context of his career because it's interesting and he's emblematic of a species of grifter. He grew up in what he called a fairly secular household in Long Island. He came of age in Syosset, New York, or Syosset. I don't know how you fucking East Coast. I hate that whole fucking coast, Shereen. It's Syosset, New York. He grew up there. He got a bachelor's degree in political science at Binghamton University. And despite a complete lack of talent and charisma, Dave decided that he was going to be a stand-up comedian. So Dave decided that he was going to be a stand-up comedian, and he had no talent in comedy, no ability to really work a crowd. But he decided to give it a shot anyway. So he started rampaging through a bunch of open mics in New York. Most of his jokes centered around the fact that he was a gay man, and isn't that funny? Like that kind of comedy.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. In the early aughts, he was one of the hosts of a podcast called Hot Gay Comics, which I'm sure was very
I
highbrow.
love when people make their sexuality their entire personality.
Yeah, I'm gay and I do comedy. That's the joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
He made a public access fake news program, like a parody of a news show, in around 2000. And he co-founded a couple of comedy clubs. His career in standoff never really took off. Like he had a certain level of prominence, like within a certain community, but it was not the kind of thing he was ever going to make a good living at, which is why he quit in 2007. And I think looking at a few clips of him being a comedian, it's very clear why his career didn't take off. Because he's very, very bad. He's a void of charisma. And I'm going to send you a link here.
I was just going to say, I love that you put yourself through that, but now you're putting me through that. So
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Never mind.
Well, thankfully, this is from a tweet by Nathan Jonathan Robinson. I'm not sure if he's the person who collected the videos or not, but somebody took clips from a bunch of his different stand-ups over, I think it was probably over a couple of years. And so we just have him like a few different punchlines of his so we can see how the crowd reacts to Dave Rubin.
Lesbians love Amstel. What is that? What is it? It tastes like water. Is there anything hotter than a lesbian spitting Amstel Light all over herself? This has become very uncomfortable. And you, I think you're gay. You're... Am I right? No? Really? No? Mormon? You raise your hand. Does anyone need their genitals warmed up? That is our show. All right, did you guys have fun?
Does anyone need their genitals warmed up?
Yeah, that's a joke.
That's
get it? Because
insufferable.
he's not straight, so that's the joke.
I did post, this is pretty funny, but I did post this image the other day that has this wound on someone's arm and it says white guilt. And then there's a Band-Aid coming over it that says queerness. And I do think some people use their sexuality and or queerness, and this is coming from a queer person, white people use their queerness sometimes as a way to skirt around the fact that they're problematic, and that gives them this like leeway to say whatever they want when really it doesn't do that at all, if that makes sense. I'm like summarizing that meme in a very roundabout way, but weaponizing your sexuality is never really to disparage someone else is never really advised, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't think he was meaning to be disparaging at this point. I think it was just a matter of like, he's not a very good comedian. And so like, you know, this was the early aughts, early 2000s. That was sort of like you watch a lot of TV shows that had like gay characters in them. And like the joke was that they were gay, but it wasn't like they weren't trying to be mean. It was like attempting, like there's a Simpsons episode that won an award for gay representation that is cringy to watch these days. But like at the time they were like, oh my God, the gay people in the show aren't monsters. Like it's like, so I think he was kind of riding that wave, which didn't last long because people were like, oh, what if we just treated everybody like people and like didn't you know, and Dave...
He was reaching for material and it didn't really, he couldn't reach very far.
No, and you can see there, like, he can't work a crowd. He has no charisma. People don't like him when he does, like, a live show. And this made, you know, a career in live performances less than an ideal professional route for Dave. But he did have some talents. You know, he was good at organizing things. He put together some comedy clubs. You know, I assume his show was funny enough that it earned him some, like, the local access show, that it earned him some attention. And he got an internship with The Daily Show's Jon Stewart.
What?
Yeah, which is big. And this is, like, early
twist.
on, like, when Jon Stewart is, like, kind of having his big rise to prominence, you know? So Rubin does that for a little while, and I think it eventually leads him to get hired by the Young Turks network, and he moves to California and stuff. And the Young Turks is like a, so like, we'll talk about them in a second, but yeah, so he gets his own show, The Rubin Report, on the Young Turks network, back in 2013.
But both Jon Stewart and the Young Turks, that's pretty left, you know?
And he's left at this point.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's at least masquerading as a progressive at this point. So he's like 37 years old when he gets his show with the Young Turks, and that's kind of his big break. Now, the Young Turks are a progressive left-wing news network, unadvisedly named after the architects of the Armenian genocide for reasons too complicated to explain here. The network's number one claim to fame was providing the launch pad for the career of one of my favorite journalists, Ken Klippenstein, who's pretty fucking cool.
We love
Yeah,
Ken.
he's the
Kenny
best.
Clips.
The best Twitter follow you could ever hope for.
Yeah, he fucking rules. So for a while, like that's kind of like it's a pretty progressive network, not hard left, but not Democrat, like kind of soft left, like Sandersy, is kind of where we'd say it. And for a while, David's show was pretty standard, like soft left wing fare. I'm going to quote from Rational Wiki here, kind of summarizing the stuff that he got up to on his and the Rubin Report in its Young Turks days. He publicly criticized National Rifle Association commercials trying to incite the fear of consequences of gun reform laws being planned to be passed by the United States Congress, addressed a decision by McDonald's to remove healthier foods from its menu in a critical manner. On a 2014 episode of The Young Turks, he rebuked self-regulation in the economy and claimed that it has never worked, and he was supportive of single-payer health insurance. So,
okay.
Yeah, he's fine, like, right? He's like a pretty normal, kind of lefty Democrat. Nothing too
outrageous.
There were, however, some early signs that something might be a little odd with Dave. In 2014, when Israel invaded Gaza, they had their war in Gaza in 2014. The Young Turks did like a 40-minute sort of like episode roundtable where they all kind of talked about what was happening. And Dave got into fights with absolutely everybody by by repeatedly defending Israel's behavior in the war. And in subsequent shows, he repeatedly denied like war crimes that had been committed by Israel. He showed up on like a radical atheist kind of podcast to express a bunch of like pretty much outright lies about Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause. So like there were some signs like, okay, something's going on with Rubin here. Something a little bit not the standard for the milieu he occupies.
As I'm wearing my Palestine shirt. Yep.
Yeah, Palestine isn't free. Yeah.
And neither is my time, Dave. Sorry, I'm not wearing I shouldn't have looked this up. Oh, that's nice.
I didn't see the lower part. Palestine isn't free and neither is my time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Thank you.
So Dave, it's a little bit odd. And he keeps getting into arguments with other folks at the Young Turks, particularly the founder of the network, Cenk Uygur. And this is probably more or less like why he winds up leaving the Young Turks network. He and Cenk had an escalating series of disagreements that started with Rubin's comments about Palestine. Rubin himself would later claim that he grew apart from the left because of its obsession with identity politics, hostility towards free speech, and unwillingness to debate openly. He now has a completely different story for why he left the left, but that's, as we'll cover, that's the main reason that he's prominent now, is that he used to be on the left, and he gives a bunch of lectures on why he left. So that's kind of the whole, he's just monetized that very effectively. So the Young Turks allowed Rubin to take his show and its YouTube account with him. He bounced around from company to company, including Aura TV, which was founded by Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim and Larry King. That didn't work out, and Rubin went through a number of different hosts and networks over the course of about a year from 2014 until 2016, which suggests he might have been kind of a pain in the ass to work with. In 2016, the Rubin Report went independent, and Dave Rubin finally found the thing he was good at. See, 2016 is like the easiest possible year you could have picked to get into the business of making right-wing propaganda on YouTube. The mix of prevailing political winds and Google's algorithm meant that even an idiot could make money spreading quasi-fascist propaganda for a while. And Dave, unfortunately, was not a total idiot. In a move that showed just how savvy he could be, he pivoted his show to almost exclusively hosting guests who were members of what would come to be called the intellectual dark web. You remember that thing? Yeah. So he sees that all these guys, these like kind of regressive right-wing thinkers, are rapidly gaining in popularity thanks to a mix of Google's algorithm and like just sort of the political, so he starts having all these dudes on his show as they're rising, which number one, builds a relationship with them so that they keep showing up even as they get big. And it kind of allows him to siphon off from their fan bases and build a large fan base of his own. Yeah. And this is a very effective tactic. He starts interfacing more directly with other chunks of the right-wing information sphere, including Prager University, where he stars in a viral video called Why I Left the Left. And I'm going to send you this clip. You're going to start it at 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and you're going to run it to 4 minutes and 3 seconds of that.
Okay, lucky me.
I know, you're going to really be happy today.
I will say, the minute you look him up on Google, his face, well, I know I say this maybe every time, but a very punchable face. A very,
extremely
very punchable face. You look up punchable face, that's what comes up.
For these reasons, I can no longer call myself a progressive.
I don't really call myself a Democrat either. I'm a classical liberal, a free thinker. And as much as I don't like to admit it, defending my liberal values has suddenly become a conservative position. So if you think people should be able to say what they think without being punished for it, that people should be judged by their behavior, not their skin color, and that people should be able to live the way that they want to live without government interference, then there's not much left on the left for you.
Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, that's the way the video is very successful. I don't know, how many views does that fucker have right now, Shereen?
Oh my God. It has over 14 million views and 212,000 likes. And that is way too many.
All this together with like having people like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and the kind of IDW intellectual dark web crowd on his show over the course of 2016 builds a huge brand for David Rubin. And again, the appeal is not Rubin himself, although I think he probably thinks that it is. The appeal is that he has all these people who are really popular on and controversial, and he's willing to have conversations with all of these people. And he consistently refuses to identify as right-wing, as he said in the video. He calls himself a classical liberal. He endorses a libertarian, not Trump, in 2016. But in spite of this, he repeatedly agrees with far-right talking points, even endorsing banning Muslims from entering the United States.
Wow.
He has people like Mike Cernovich and Milo Yiannopoulos on his show, and Lauren Southern, who went on his show and defended Richard Spencer while he goes, yeah. It's...
Wow. I hate Milo so much. So
yeah. His episodes with these out and out fascists like Milo were ostensibly the civil debates that he claimed that he loved, but he never actually pushed back against any of these right wing folks. Never. So they're not really debates. They're just him platforming and agreeing with terrible people because he's terrible. Even when Ben Shapiro, his quote unquote friend, expressed the opinion that Rubin's very marriage is itself immoral because Ben Shapiro doesn't think gay people should get married. Rubin's none of this provides any conflict for Dave Rubin because as will become increasingly clear, he's never believed in a single thing in his entire life other than Dave Rubin being famous and rich.
That's a great point. It's never about the platform or the politics or anything. It is all about ego. It is never about anything but ego. And he's just doing everything he can possibly do to inflate his ego and it's not about
and make money.
It's not about standing up for anyone but himself. And I mean, not even that. He doesn't even stand up for his own marriage. I wonder what his fucking husband thought about that.
Yeah, and he talks about how disagreements with Cenk are why he left the Young Turks, but also the Young Turks were never going to make him rich. I think they pay a living wage, and I'm sure he got a living wage, but you don't get rich working for those folks. I mean, maybe Cenk has, but you're not going to get rich doing that gig. You can get rich, especially in 2016, being a far-right YouTube grifter.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing about the Young Turks is that he would never be the main character,
No,
he wants to be front and center, spotlight. He is not, because it's about his ego. It's not about anything else.
And the sad thing is, he's still not the main character because he only has gained success by attaching himself lamprey-like to more successful grifters. I'm going to quote from Business Insider here. Rubin's interviewing style is to rely on civility, which in practice serves as a platform for the guests to present their arguments unchallenged, but the idea seems to apply for only one side. In a 2019 interview with then Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson, Rubin scolded her for making what he called a slippery slope argument in comparing the Holocaust to slavery. Guests like far-right provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos, who said Jews control the banks and media, Stefan Molyneux, who said blacks have smaller brains than whites, and Lauren Southern, who defended Richard Spencer's white nationalism as distinct from white supremacism, whom Rubin later called fearless, were met with no pushback at all when making egregious statements on the Rubin Report.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Also,
wow. Wait, can you... that was too much. My brain can't handle all of that.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? Because he's a piece of shit. he's just garbage.
Do you want to think about what you want to say while we take a quick ad?
You know who's not garbage? You know who won't platform Lauren Southern?
Who?
The products and services who support this podcast.
Wow. No way.
Nice segue.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas start at just $699. Enjoy a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slip covers made with performance fabric. Experience cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam that's hypoallergenic and never needs fluffing. The sturdy steel frame ensures longevity, and the modular pieces can be rearranged anytime. Shop WashableSofas.com for up to 60% off site-wide, backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Upgrade now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation. One-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
We're back!
Oh, fun. I'm so happy to be here.
Got a little bit of good news before we dive back into Dave Rubin.
Please.
Harvey Weinstein's lawyer just said that if not released, he'll die in prison. With a picture of him on a walker, which is like, okay.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time, bro.
Oh, man.
I actually hate the idea of incarceration effectively used as a death penalty, but also, I'm not gonna use any of my fucks that I have to give on fucking Harvey Weinstein right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I'll promise, for the sake of intellectual consistency, if we deal with 30 or 40,000 more pressing problems, I will care about that injustice. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
down the line, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
We take care of a few 10,000 problems, deal with climate change, stop the rise of fascism, reform the criminal justice system so that black men stop getting murdered by cops and indigenous people stop getting murdered by cops. In the war on drugs, release everybody with a drug-related conviction. We get all that done.
Then
I'll be like, yeah, we
perhaps.
should make sure Harvey, dies in a 2-bedroom apartment that is comfortable. It also keeps him isolated from the rest of humanity rather than locking him in a torturous cell. I'll get on board that.
I don't know. I think I would still. We might disagree on this. I think he maybe should die. I think I would. I think you. I don't know.
I'm not willing to endorse him dying in prison, but I will have a long argument with you about whether or not he should die in prison while he's dying in prison. And then if he happens to die in prison while we're trying to come to an accord, Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, wait. Okay, I see I see my initial my anger got the better of me. But yeah, you're right. I think you're completely right. I think justice needs to be served in a better way than just him disintegrating in a prison cell.
I think he and Paul Manafort. I think he and Paul Manafort should have to inhabit a small apartment in Muskegon and pick citrus all day.
Oh my God, Weinstein and Manafort roommates. I would watch that reality show.
And they can be the only ones picking citrus on whatever farm they're on, because neither of them can be allowed to talk to people other than each other.
Yeah.
Just
you know
two
what?
old monsters grifting each other and picking lemons all day. Getting heat
That's
stroke.
kind of entertaining to think about.
It is fun. Okay, so we're back to Dave Rubin. Drubin. I'm going to quote here from his write-up in Rational Wiki about sort of how all of his positions changed as soon as it became very profitable to be a right-wing grifter.
Of course.
Rubin reversed his earlier stance on self-regulation in the economy, saying on a 2018 episode of The Joe Rogan Show that he wanted major deregulation and greater self-regulation, after saying it never works. In addition, he's shown an ever-expanding devotion to bringing in controversial right-wing figures, including those with sympathies to causes of objectivist-style libertarianism and people with far-right views on topics on his show in the name of free speech. One such figure is Stefan Molyneux, known for both objectivist stances as well as reactionary attitudes to women's rights, given his openly negative view of women, as well as Molyneux's support of racialist perspectives. He's a Nazi. When he does invite guests on the left now, it's usually only to complain about regressivism, which is his favorite word, that the left is regressive, which he, fights against by partnering with people on the regressive right, I guess. So Rubin's pivot has made him into a wealthy man. His YouTube channel has well over 2 million subscribers. Again, he works for one of the foundations or whatnot that he gets funding from, is funded itself by the Koch brothers, and kind of a traditionally shady thing. Yeah, he gets Koch money. As of 2019, he's hosted by Glenn Beck's The Blaze Network, and all of this has made him a very wealthy man. He bought a $5 million house in the Hollywood Hills like a year or so ago, very recently. Yeah. All of this has caused Anna Kasparian, his former colleague and friend at the Young Turks, to call him a lazy fraud who wanted, quote, to make a 6-figure salary to host a 30-minute-a-week show despite herself and her colleagues working 12-hour days for far less. She reiterated that he's sold out to corporate America by pointing out he's received money from the Koch brothers and alleges that he has no true political identity. He's not an honest actor nor an intellectual, just a fraud, plain and simple.
I like her.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And she was his friend. Which has to be a bummer when your friend sells you out.
It's like weird to work with someone on a very left-wing platform and then suddenly see them swap over to the other side simply because it's more lucrative and, I don't know, attention grabby, because then it just proves they were never about any type of cause. Like, she's right. Like, he doesn't have any political opinions. He's just a attention whore.
And that reminds me to throw in a plug for my new nightly show on Fox News, Robert Evans Left Bad, which I will be recording from the private island that I bought with my signing bonus.
Robert Evans Left Bad?
Yeah, that's left. It's
that's
just me saying
the best you could come up with?
Yeah, exactly.
Left-wing bad over and over again and playing clips of Antifa looking scary. I've made $70 million already.
No, Robert
the key is
Evans
you don't think about it at all.
Bad.
Left
Sophie
bad.
hates it.
I hate it so much.
If you're going to be a right-wing grifter, you can't think at all about what you're doing.
Robert,
you just grift.
I mean, I speak for the listeners. We expect better. Robert Evans.
You're not my listeners anymore.
Bad.
A bunch of frightened elderly people watching Fox News are going to be my listeners now. I have to tell them is that the left wing is bad.
Why would it not be behind the left bastards?
That's too complicated a title. Way too complicated a title.
Robert Evans Left Bad. I'm just gonna think about
right wing.
How about left equals bad? That's the new.
This is bad. It's getting worse. So let's move on.
It's getting worse. It is getting worse.
So there are Thankfully, some signs that Dave's ride to the top may be nearing an end. Much of his fame and his fan base were developed due to his close relationship to members of the intellectual dark web. He was often seen as the group's hype man, and in fact, he acted as the hype man for Jordan Peterson during the Professor's World Tour after the release of his book 12 Rules for Life. Like, he would introduce him at shows and stuff. And
this gets worse and worse.
Terrible sets. But in recent months, the intellectual dark web has kind of faded into a subcultural memory. We don't talk so much about those guys these days. They've become less relevant.
Why is that? Like, how have they made that possible? Like, how have they made themselves truly fade away into the background while still existing?
The intellectual dark web's whole goal was to kind of provide... Do you know what parachuting is?
Remind me.
Well, there's a couple of ways to do it, but one of them is you put like a bunch of drugs that you're going to take and like a little a packet of something and swallow it so that it dissolves slowly in your stomach, and it's kind of a way to avoid the nasty flavor and to get maybe a longer high. It's parachuting.
Wait, can you repeat that? I'm going to take some notes.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm kidding.
The intellectual dark web, we're kind of parachuting fascism into our culture by like wrapping it up in just asking questions and the other kind of shit.
But they did it. That's
they
what's
did it,
infuriating.
and now they're not as relevant anymore. Like,
but that's
Ben
what
Shapiro,
they wanted.
Huh?
In a way, isn't that what they
so.
wanted? It's.
I think they just wanted to be famous and prominent intellectuals. But the problem is that now it's moved beyond them, and the right is represented by a mix of the president and a bunch of gun-toting, howling, violent fascists, and people like Ben Shapiro don't have nearly as much cultural like cachet as they used to have, because things have moved far beyond them. And things have moved far beyond guys like obviously Rubin's biggest break was his friendship and his relationship to Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson's brain melted this year. And his daughter first subjected him to experimental Russian drug addiction therapy and then gave him COVID. So he's not really someone that Dave can cash in on anymore.
Yeah. Who knew that an all meat diet would do something to your body, let alone, I think that was
I don't even know if that's what did it. Like, it's just in general, yeah. Dave Rubin also had kind of failed during his maximum period of expansion to really have any actual, like, a bunch of left-wing folks kept asking him to debate, like, and he would never say yes, and he would actually regularly block them when they argued with him, because he actually hates debate. So he's kind of locked himself into this position where the acceptable ideological spectrum of discussion in his show gets narrower and narrower every day. And he can't really bring in new blood. And the thing that what was once a fertile field for a guy like him, which is kind of like, I hate the left now, I'm not a right winger, I'm a classical liberal, like, listen to me. As things have gotten more polarized, nobody gives a shit about that anymore. Or at least people give less shits about it than they used to. And I actually found a write-up in Medium from one of his former fans, who is still really a big fan of guys like Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris and Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, but who has gotten bored with Dave Rubin lately. And I want to end this chunk of the episode with a quote from that. I say this as someone who genuinely admires people like Sam Harris and even what conservatives like Ben Shapiro have to say. In 2019, the Rubin Report is only concerned with the same handful of repetitive topics. Criticism of social justice warriors, political correctness, and student coddling on university campuses is all well and good, but it has reached the point of ad nauseum with Dave Rubin. I would further argue that outside of niche internet political circles, the vast majority of people in daily life are hardly concerned with these subjects to begin with. After the 8th or 9th softball question interview with a right-leaning guest on dunking on blue-haired gender studies majors working at Starbucks and other blasé conservative talking points, I eventually decided that listening to the Rubin Report every week was hardly the best use of my time. And this dude, who's a fan of his, got blocked by Dave for, like, arguing very politely with him on Twitter, because, again, Dave's little fragile little baby. Yeah.
Well, fragile man ego. Wow.
So that's a little overview of Dayrube, of Drubin.
Dayrube.
Yeah.
What? So
but
is
now
it time to make fun of him now?
It is. It's time to look into his terrible book. Don't burn this book.
It's like reverse psychology. Like, because now all I want to do is burn his book.
Oh, see, I don't care about his book that much. But
I also just like to burn things. Maybe I should preface that. I like to burn
things. I do enjoy a good fire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the book is like, the cover is "Don't burn this book" in big letters, subheading "Thinking for Yourself in an Age of Unreason," and there's a big match on the book. And we're going to do the thing we always do, where we buy the book and then refund it as soon as we finish here.
I'm surprised his face isn't on the cover.
Yeah, so am I. It has like a jacket quote from Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, which I guess must be one of the last things Dr. Jordan B. Peterson did before his brain melted down. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so there's a fun quote in here from, his publisher writes that in a time of madness, the book will give you the tools you need to think for yourself. Which is very funny for Dave Rubin to say.
The tools you need to think for yourself. He's never thought a single thought.
No, he just lets other people spew their thought vomit out on his show, and then he nods, unless they're on the left, in which case he disagrees shallowly. Yeah. And a representative passage from the book before we get into it reads, I want you to walk into a bar and order a full-bodied opinion. I want you to get absolutely wasted on facts until 3 a.m. And then when you're just about ready to pass out, I want you to get another glass of reality and chug it. See how funny that is, the comedy?
Wow.
He's like reading his drinking.
Metaphors
and you get drunk on knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not even like the funny version of that. Like, you could do a funny version of that where it's like, I want people to be well informed. I want people to get wasted on facts. I want you to be shitting on the floor of your aunt's apartment with knowledge. Right now. Yeah, exactly. Like, but Dave Rubin.
I'm sure when he read that back, he was like, "Fuck yeah, man."
Yeah, I'm comedy. Yeah,
it's like, I'm a genius.
Yeah, I don't know, like. He's bad. Anyway, let's look into his book, shall we? I actually want to start by reading. So I told you he's given a couple different versions of the story of like why he finally left the left, and you know, it started with his like the what seems to be the facts is that he had a bunch of disagreements with Jank about his support of Israel over Palestine, and like that led to other disagreements, and he was just kind of a pain in the ass to work with. But in his book, Rubin gives a very different story, and he claims that like his break with the left started in 2016, which we know it happened much earlier, but this makes it is kind of a better story. And it was during an interview with Larry Elder, who is a black conservative talk radio guy, and a very experienced talk radio guy. And Rubin used the phrase systemic racism, and Elder challenged him and rallied off. You know, he did the thing that like you can do to people who aren't good at debating about something like this, and like give off anecdotes about individual incidents of police brutality that were misreported, or talk about black on black crime, which, you know, ignores the fact that white people commit the most crimes against white people, and ignores the fact that like, no, there's actually quite a bit of like, well, yes, there are misreported cases of police brutality. There's a lot of documentation about like, because Rubin doesn't do research because he's dumb, or at least because he's a bad researcher, or at least because he's dishonest. He had nothing to say against this,
contribute or anything like that.
Yeah, and so he claims that like this interview with Elder is what changed his opinion, which is like why it's a smart move for him to try to pull, I guess. He did it a little bit late, but like he has to kind of rewrite that history because 2016 is such an inflection point politically, and because this way he can claim that like, no, it was like a conservative black man who like pulled me, a gay man, away from the left.
Well, okay, but that's
the whole thing.
I wanted to clarify something that I said up top about white guilt and queerness, because this perfectly proves my point, is that when some people that are already marginalized, like if you're a white gay man, like you can argue that you're already marginalized, and so you don't have to examine how your whiteness is still problematic. And so I'm sure there's an element of that as far as kind of using a black man to like prove his point, like help his story along, because like in his mind, like I'm also marginalized. Like I'm not like other white people. Like I understand. So I don't know if that makes sense. Is that
no,
kind of...
Yeah, it does. And he definitely does this thing where like one of the things he rails against the most in his show is identity politics. But he also focuses on like, well, I'm a gay man and I think that the left is crazy. I mean. Yeah, exactly.
He uses it to only prove backwards points when really he's not. He's using it as a crutch to not examine how his whiteness is the main, like a huge point of his privilege.
Yes.
And especially because he is able to pass as like presume, like he's not someone that would get ostracized in society by looking at him, kind of thing. So I think there's also privilege in passing. And I think he really uses his sexuality as the worst kind of weapon against actual marginalized people, which is so upsetting. And it's so upsetting for the gay community in general, because I don't know. That kind of that brand of whiteness is really upsetting to me.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. All of it's very frustrating. And the way in which he kind of cashes in on, look, a black man agrees with me about the left.
Exactly.
Is very gross. And I don't know, his book is very silly. So I'm going to read from kind of the end of the introduction here, where he lists, first off, the greatest contemporary thinkers in the world, which includes Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, Ben Shapiro, Thomas Sowell,
God.
Dennis Prager, Brett Weinstein, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, Christina Hoff Sommers, who did a documentary about the men's rights movement, and of course, Peter Thiel.
Wow.
Famed greatest intellectual in the world, Peter Thiel. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they all, I mean, I guess we know where some of that money's coming from, huh?
It's like he's writing a parody.
Yeah, he is like a parody. Everyone who tries to be an intellectual on the far right is like a parody of a smart guy.
Really?
Yeah, they too came out of the political closet and helped me to see that tribalism is dead and that diversity of thought is far more important than diversity for its own sake. We need diversity of thought. We don't care. It doesn't matter like if everybody's white, as long as they think different things. We can have a like.
God damn it!
Wow.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
That's like one step away from like I don't see color, but there's like a different.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brands his book as a 10-step guide for political authenticity and promises in it you'll learn how to embrace your wake-up call. It's the catalyst that brought you to these pages in the first place. Think freely or die. You'll get a much-needed crash course in classically liberal principles that stand the test of time, yada, 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 yada. And then
freely or die.
Stop worrying about whether you're a Nazi.
Oh my God, no, you're joking. That is not real.
No.
Stop. That is a joke. That is truly, if I was writing a parody book about some right-wing nut that wrote a book about, oh my God, stop worrying if you're, no.
Yeah. Stop worrying about being a Nazi. Cause that's clearly like, if you keep getting called a Nazi, don't analyze whether or not you're doing Nazi shit. Just accept that like, it means nothing to be called a Nazi. That like you shouldn't even consider for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like don't worry if someone calls you a racist. You're fine.
Yeah,
like don't worry.
You're fine.
Oh my God.
Dave Rubin, have
livid.
declared you fine. Yeah. Check your facts, not your privilege.
Please don't tell me this book did well. If this book did well, I don't think truly
it did well.
Signing off.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it did okay. I don't think it was like a giant national bestseller. Let's see here. We can probably pull that up pretty fast.
Oh, it's new. It's like
it
brand
was like
new.
universally politically panned. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 2020.
The
progressive woke machine from outrage. Oh my God, I can't read the rest
Yeah, I know.
of this.
It's incredibly frustrating. Yeah, I mean, it's not
fucking
great.
Amazon.
It came out not that long ago. It's like number almost 5,000 in Barnes and Noble. It's like 40 or 50,000 in Amazon. Like it, I don't think it's
5 out of 5. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, you have your friends all like it's not. It has not been the giant success that I think he hoped it would. They were hoping it would like clearly this book is angled at like converting a bunch of people to the right, and I don't think it did that. Yeah. Stop hating America, the West, and straight white men. One of the motivations you'll have to stand up against the mob is that you'll love your country, the straight white men within it, and Western values in general. In fact, you'll know that America isn't perfect, nor can any nation ever be, but that she has granted more people more freedoms than any other country in the history of the world. You'll also know that straight white men aren't evil. It's actually racist and sexist to believe so, and that Western values are rooted in individual rights are the cornerstone of free societies. And again, this is like, he talks about how you have to have your facts straight and go into a debate with facts, but of course, he doesn't like do that with this, where number one, nobody in any sort of prominent position anywhere on the left is saying that straight white men are evil. They're saying that like the concept of whiteness is fundamentally toxic and we need to reorient our societies away from it. And also the idea that Western values rooted in individual rights are the cornerstones of free society ignores a couple of things. You want me to list a couple of those things?
Yeah.
In the 1770s, when the British conquered India and then starved between 30 and 40 million people to death in order to maximize the profits of the British East India Company, that was not rooted in individual rights, was it? Not super rooted in individual rights. When like the European powers took over basically the entire Middle East and partitioned it up without asking any of the people who lived in the former Ottoman Empire where they wanted to live in the Sykes-Picot Agreement, and then forced a lot of them under dictators in order to maximize oil revenue. That was not like, super respectful of individual rights. When the United States had Salvador Allende assassinated, or a lot of other leaders assassinated in Central America, and then backed death squads through the schools of the America, killing hundreds of thousands of people and leading to mass rape campaigns, including the burning alive of numerous nuns. That was also not rooted in respect for individual rights. You might say Western values have never been rooted in individual rights and have instead been rooted in plundering the rest of the world for the wealth of the West, who get to have individual rights as long as they don't criticize the plundering of the world. Anyway, fun David Rubin. I brought some facts, Dave. We can talk about those if you want. I'll go on your show.
Yeah. He'll never agree to any type of back and forth. It would just expose him, right? Like, it's... Okay, but I will say I'm skimming through these reviews on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
I want to throw up.
Are they just cloying?
They're overwhelmingly positive. I'm sure he must have bought some of them. I refuse to believe this many idiots exist in the world. But there's this really long one that's near the top that is basically a 5-star review. This book can change your life. It talks about how he used he used to call himself a feminist, and how feminists in his own life canceled him because of arguments about the crime of rape. And this is
oh boy, I wonder what those arguments were.
God. Well, I can continue if you're curious.
Yeah, please. No, I want to know what this guy. I want to know this Dave Rubin fan's hot take on rapes.
Well, okay, this is like the third or fourth. No, this is the fourth paragraph down of this essay review. It says the first line of it is, "I had never heard of David Rubin when I was a fan of the Young Turks, and while I still called past tense, I called myself a feminist. Feminists in my own life canceled me for numerous reasons, or attempted to, in parentheses. One of the arguments was over the crime of rape, as in, rape is a heinous crime that has best practices for prevention and resistance, just like preventing and resisting the crime of murder, where men number upon its primary victims. The audacity that one would talk about preventing rape as if the solution is not to simply tell men to rape less. We have laws against such things. And these simple school marm admonitions, surprise, don't work on rapists. This got me canceled by more people than I can count, including one person who I had the displeasure of seeing introduce Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins for one of their gatherings. By this time, I had taken a major dose of the red. I had a major dose of the red pill,
and I
was seeking some type of comfort.
Okay.
Was I crazy? Great. Could I be literally Hitler because I dared think outside the feminist orthodoxy?
Yeah, and it's the thing, like
lockstep.
They keep
enter
saying
David
people
Rubin.
Are calling them
and then the rest of it is
Hitler.
enter David Rubin and how this man changed his life. Oh my God.
Like, people, for the most part, aren't calling. I don't believe people have been calling him literally Hitler for his controversial stance on rape. I think they've been like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are you so adamant about arguing with everybody about rape? And like what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Also, apparently he dedicated the book to Ben Affleck. Is that
Dave
real?
Rubin did?
That's what Chad says on Amazon. Is that real?
That seems like it's got to be a joke.
I have to look. I have to double check this. Ben.
Yeah. It is. It is for Ben Affleck. I'm sure that's some sort of joke that we don't get because we don't watch his terrible show. I don't know. That's horrible. Well, no, it's not. Fuck Ben Affleck. Like, I don't think Ben Affleck believes anything other than having a gigantic, hideous tattoo of a phoenix on his back, which, in fairness to Ben Affleck, is more of a commitment than Dave Rubin has ever made to anything controversial. Like, of course. Like, you got to give Affleck credit. It is not a cowardly decision to have the tattoo that he has.
That is a commitment. That is a commitment to a type of person you are going to be, if anything else, let alone the tattoo itself. I will say, I'm not an Affleck fan. The only thing that I respect Affleck for is, I think it was like in 2014 or something. But I dislike Bill Maher a lot.
He's a piece of shit. Really I hate him. Bill Maher. Yeah.
But when he was on his show and Bill Maher was being his regular Islamophobic self, Ben Affleck fought back against him on his show, and he was like one of the only commentators on the stage that was like really upset or something, and fought back pretty hard. So I really respected him for that reason. But as a regular person,
I will say of Ben Affleck, and this is actually my favorite thing about Ben Affleck, is that he looks like a man who committed that despite his fame and despite being classically handsome most of the time, and despite like the legions of adoring fans he's had throughout aspects of his career, he committed to never not being the kind of guy who would throw empty cans of Steel Reserve at his television at 4 a.m. Correct. And that's what his back tattoo represents. Like
Ben Affleck rising out of the ashes.
Yeah, and then hucking a Steel Reserve can at the television because he's angry at it. That's Ben Affleck, and
I will say I don't
him.
find him attractive in the slightest, but
no, but clearly he must have to someone, right? He had that whole career.
Someone made him Batman, whatever. Yeah. Like apparently he ticks some boxes for some people, but
people want to fuck Ben Affleck, and that's fine for them.
Ben Affleck is this classic example of white men just needing to be above a certain height to be considered attractive, in my opinion.
This has just turned into a Ben Affleck stan podcast.
Stan? No.
Stan. I mean, I can't think of a single movie he's been in where I actually cared about his appearance at all. But I love the pictures of him like shirtless and out of shape, drunk and staring out at things in
I will say,
depression.
There is something tragically beautiful about that.
Yeah, I admire that greatly because I have that energy myself a lot of the time. Just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to drink a 40 and
those are some of the best
vomit
photos
in someone else's trash can.
Taken.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
We're talking about Ben Affleck right now because Dave Rubin sucks so bad that we're all thinking like, Ben Affleck, there's a person that I don't despise.
But he dedicated his book to him, so that is kind of weird
it is relevant.
And interesting.
You know what's better than Dave Rubin? And a more honest intellectual thinker than Dave Rubin?
Raytheon.
Exactly, Raytheon. Well, Dave Rubin vacillates and refuses to commit and just lets fascists talk over him and platforms them. Raytheon doesn't platform anybody. They just build missile guidance systems that kill people in Yemen. And you know what? I don't have... let's roll the rest of the ads.
Okay.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Sink into affordable luxury. Anabay is the only machine washable sofa inside and out. With stain-resistant slip covers and a cloud-like frame duvet, everything goes right in the wash. Plus, the modular design lets you change the look of your space anytime. Visit washablesofas.com to upgrade your home. Shop up to 60% off site-wide, with sofas starting at just $699 and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
We're back. And speaking of backs, I spent the ad break looking at that picture of Ben Affleck's unbelievable back tattoo, which I at no point in my life will I ever have had enough of realizing that in everything Ben Affleck's ever done, that's been underneath his shirt all the time. You can't escape it.
You can't escape it.
All right, let's read what Dave Rubin has to say about drugs. I've done a pretty decent amount of drugs in my day, which is a sign that someone's either done no drugs or only done cocaine.
Right.
Yeah, I've smoked pot, snorted coke, eaten magic mushrooms. I've danced poorly on ecstasy and probably a couple of other things. These days I'm a red wine and indica guy, but I don't deny my past. Actually, I have some great memories of it. Yada, 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 yada. Okay.
Anyone that calls magic mushrooms has never done shrooms.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, okay, so he's doing like a standard libertarian thing about how like we should just legalize this stuff, which is fine. Like it's the standard libertarian thing you've got to go through. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, the catch is that this libertarian-inspired view falls apart when it starts to include Schedule I substances such as crack and heroin, which are obviously very different beasts. Crack is just cocaine. Like, David, crack is just a form of cocaine. You're just criminalizing the version that you think black people tend to do.
Like, he has no idea about the history of crack and why it's called crack. And, like, like, I don't know, man. Like, what a fucking joke.
But no, these are the drugs that need the lightest possible touch of government to criminalize them. Because freedom can't be a free-for-all, he writes. And we don't want a Breaking Bad episode happening next door. Well, if methamphetamine were, say, manufactured by the government in the way that certain Schedule I narcotics are in parts of Europe and were distributed to people who need, like, take it, and you know, that were like a thing that they could do and get a consistent product and not have to deal with drug dealers, then maybe there wouldn't be as much street crime, and maybe because they're going into like government facilities where there's nurses and stuff, people could actually get healthcare and hopefully eventually get off of meth, which is how they've treated heroin addiction very successfully in parts of Scandinavia. But like Dave, again, the guy who talks about coming armed with facts doesn't. He just talks about how so he talks about how bad and scary San Francisco is because of meth and opiates. And that's why the government needs to criminalize those drugs, is because San Francisco is scary. And which is like, I fucking grew up in Dallas, dude. Like, there's parts of Dallas, like San Francisco's got its sketchy like neighborhoods, largely because there's just a lot of houseless people who the local city government and like the NIMBY type rich folks don't want to help. But like, fucking hang out in Dallas or fucking Atlanta or like a whole every city.
Yeah, anyone that calls San Francisco scary has lived a very privileged life, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a mix of like what they consider scary. Like, right? It's in a lot of the deep south, you deal with more meth shacks. In San Francisco, you're more likely to find needles on the ground. But it's like, yeah, all of them are symptoms of the fact that our society has serious problems. It's not the fault of the actual individual substances.
No,
because we know that that's not how addiction
our society
works.
has failed so many people, and
and
it's just not the fault of those people. It's the fault of the society at large. But then making it sound like they are the reasons why a city is scary, that is so problematic.
Yeah, it's the whole like Dave's whole argument basically is that like I think the drugs that white people do should be legal.
Of course.
Or at least that I see white people doing should be legal. So yeah, this whole section is basically him explaining why like if you support things like gay marriage and that kind of stuff, you're a classical liberal like him. Although you should still support people who are caught with heroin or meth being put in prison rather than receiving treatment because San Francisco's scary. Dave Rubin is a consistent guy. Oh God. Okay. Here's his views on abortion.
No.
Before this process started, I'd always been solidly pro-choice, though in the last 2 years or so, I've begun to describe myself as begrudgingly pro-choice after learning more about the biology of gestation and the process of abortion and seeing the left fetishize it in a way I'm not comfortable with. There are countless videos on YouTube of women celebrating their termination, while organizations such as Shout Your Abortion encourages Twitter users to do the same with carefree abandon.
Okay, I sorry. I started vomiting when you said the word gestation.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's him number one, like willfully misunderstanding like the difference between people being like, hey, you shouldn't be ashamed if you've had an abortion. People need to be more open about that fact so that like there's less stigma around it.
Yeah.
Like you're not saying like, yay, I love the fact that I got an abortion. It's fun. Let's go get another. Nobody like enjoys that process, but there's no shame in it. That's the whole point of that shit. Yeah. It's just a thing that you do.
You're normalizing like talking about it and being open about it makes it less of a taboo and makes it less of something that you feel shame around. It's not about being proud that you terminated a pregnancy. It's about normalizing even seeking it out. And so it's not this shameful taboo topic.
It's this thing that conservatives keep doing with like they do it with sex education too, where like if you're in favor of like kids getting better sex education, then you're in favor of sexualizing children. It's like no,
exactly.
Like you shouldn't even be telling kids that like sex is good or bad. You should just be explaining very simply what it is, how it works, how their bodies work. Like it should be like learning about the fucking Falklands invasion or whatever. It should be just another fucking class. Like this is your body, this is how it works, this is how this all like nobody's sexualizing kids. You're trying to teach them shit. It
should just because it is. It's sex. It should not be this thing we only talk about behind closed doors. Like normalizing talking about it it should start very young, and it should start just as an educational thing. And conservatives make everything about they just twist it. They twist it so strangely. All
right, this is a terrible book. Let's move down to the fucking Nazi. Okay, I want to see some of these headings. No. Don't worry, you're not a Nazi.
Oh, God. Don't worry, you're not a Nazi. That's what someone says who is a Nazi.
Congratulations, I have fantastic news. You are not a Nazi. You may be wondering how I know this, considering we've probably never met. But trust me, I know. What's vital going forward is that you know this too. You don't know, David.
He's like making it sound like if you're reading this book, you're a good person. Yeah. You're smart enough to not be a Nazi.
Because you bought this book by me. Yeah. Okay, so he goes into how like Nazis were actually socialists. People have totally rewritten history on the matter. No, they haven't. They just understand that it was like a branding sort of thing, and that there was a left wing of the Nazi party that all got murdered in the Night of Long Knives. That's what that was, David. Was the left wing of the Nazi party all getting killed? But again, none of these people have ever. Oh yeah, he twitters or he talks about how Hitler was on the left because he was an art-loving vegetarian. And that he wooed voters away from Germany's social democrat and communism. Most of Hitler, like the core of Hitler's support, came from the German conservatives.
I'm pretty sure he just called Hitler
like the monarchists and the right wing. But okay, like again, just completely. And like here's okay. So this is funny. So he talks about how Mussolini also has to have clearly come up from been a left wing guy because he started out as a left wing journalist, which is true. Mussolini was initially a socialist and a left winger, like Dave Rubin. Then he became a fascist. like
Yep.
Dave Rubin. You know,
Kind of glossed over that fact.
oh, cool. He just talks about how real Nazis hated gays and Jews to the point of mass extermination of them, and which is true. Nazis killed a lot of gay people. Let's talk about Ernst Röhm. You've heard of the brown shirts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were Hitler's street fight, his Proud Boys. These were guys who go out in the street and
Yeah.
would murder left-wing activists. They were his enforcers, the violent arm of the Nazi electoral movement. The head of the SA, the head of the brown shirts, was a flamboyantly and fairly openly gay man named Ernst Röhm, who was caught when Hitler decided he had to kill him because the Nazis had gained power and they wanted to purge the left, and Röhm was an embarrassment because he was gay. They found him at a giant orgy at a castle with a bunch of his boy toys and stuff, and Rome, the Nazis had a ton of gay members early on. Mm-hmm. They killed them all after they got into power, which might be a warning to fucking Dave Rubin.
Wow.
When you truck with these people who hate you, they will use you while you're valuable for them to get in power, and then they'll put you in a camp or just have you shoot yourself in a prison, David. Actually read some history.
He's mapping out his own demise unknowingly.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, these people are very frustrating.
I do like that he said that Hitler was on the left because he was an art-loving vegetarian. He just basically called him a hipster, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing to be to prove a point.
Yeah. He does point out that someone on Twitter said Dave Rubin isn't a Nazi. It's just that he'd sit across from Himmler and say "interesting" a lot, which is actually a pretty accurate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good stuff.
I can't believe he's that idiotic to not realize that he can only go so far with this shtick, I feel like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it does seem like he's kind of he's running to the end of his grift. Now, he did get very rich. We'll see how long that lasts and how long he's able to carry some of this shit for. But I don't think he's going to have a super long career after this.
I hope not.
Because especially if hopefully things go well in the election. I mean, we'll fucking see. But even now, with Trump in power, as always happens to these guys, he has rapidly lost influence because Dave Rubin was only ever valuable as a vehicle to push these far right thinkers, just like all the other intellectual dark web guys. And now that it's become mainstream to just openly call for the executions of your political opponents and the installation of a dictatorship among the right, there's not a whole lot of need for classical liberals, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hope not. I hope you're right. I mean, I trust your instincts. I hope this is the last time I'll ever have to talk about him.
Same.
But yeah. God, what a garbage man.
Yeah, he's trash. And I think we're done talking about him.
Wait, I don't want to. Wait, sorry. I insulted actual people that work as garbage men. That's not what I meant.
Oh, no. Garbage men are awesome. Yeah, no. One of the most important jobs in the entire all of civilization.
Garbage.
Yeah, he is a man made of garbage. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
He is like a pile of trash. He's not a garbage man. A garbage man would remove him to a dump and thus carry out an incredibly necessary role in modern civilization.
An act of service to help us all.
Yeah, thank you, garbage men and women. And non-binary garbage people of all sorts.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify and before someone jumped on me saying that term.
Yeah. Nothing but love for garbage people here. But not people made of garbage. Mm-hmm. We're going to need to work on some of the language here, but that can happen later. Shireen, you got any pluggables to plug?
Pluggables to plug. Well, you can follow me along the interwebs if you want. I'm Shiro Hero on Instagram, SheeroHero.
Interwebs.
And then on Twitter, it's Shiro Hero 666. And I have a podcast called Ethnically Ambiguous. And I'm writing a second poetry book. My first one is out there somewhere. But yeah, I am trying to work on more films. So if you want to see what I come up with, follow me along if you want. And if you don't, I get it.
Well, follow Shireen and let... I don't know. I was gonna have a joke, but I don't have a joke. I don't have a joke to end this on. Make your own fucking jokes, people. What, you think I owe you a joke right now just because you listened to my episode? I'm sorry. I'm getting abusive now, and that's not good. Jesus Christ.
Think back to the image, Robert. Think back to the beach, the tattoo.
Yeah,
just go back there.
Yeah, fucking Ben Affleck bent over, belly spilling out, giant phoenix tattoo on his back, and a 40th Steel Reserve in his hands. Just the saddest man who's ever lived. God, I love him.
Robert, you kind of went Robert Evans left bad there.
Oh, no.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. And watch me on Fox News for my new show, Left Equals Bad, filmed on my private island that I bought with the $80 million they gave me.
Yeah. Those flight logs, gotta watch out.
Well, we don't need to talk about... Okay, episode's done.
Kids, pets, life, your sofa sees it all. But with a washable sofa, stains don't stand a chance. All of our sofa collections come with fully machine washable covers and cushions, making cleanup effortless. Liquid and stain-resistant fabrics provide extra protection against everyday messes. Plus, with modular designs, you can rearrange your sofa however you like. Perfect for growing families and changing spaces. Starting at just $699, it's time to upgrade to a stress-free, mess-proof sofa. Visit washablesofas.com today and save. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
This is Bethany Frankel from Just Be with Bethany Frankel. Let me be blunt. Most dog food is junk. It just is. And I'm not feeding junk to Biggie and Smalls. That is why they eat Just Food for Dogs. It's real, 100% human-grade food with ingredients I actually recognize, not mystery pellets pretending to be healthy. And once I switched, the difference was obvious. Better digestion, better skin, more energy, dogs who actually feel good instead of just surviving dinner. Here's the thing. You care about quality. You make an intentional choice to be healthy. So why are you gambling with your dog's health? So let's think about our furry babies. Go to justfoodfordogs.com right now and get 50% off your first box. No code, just try it. Because once you see the difference, you're not going back.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.